When you want to reach the top of a mountain, you get a bunch of wonderful views on your way up. Most of those views you never would have got if you only wanted to get that view in the first place.
So it is about the journey, but be careful because the destination you choose in advance dictates the journey.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode, number 914, Redesigning After a Burn Down. That is very appropriate for what is going on behind the scenes with Alan and I. Today, for episode number 915, it is Strategy Saturday, what most people don't understand about goals. I was talking to a client recently, and, well, let me just preface it with this. The goal of goal setting isn't always about getting the goal. That's my through line for this entire episode, because I think growing up, we're taught that goal setting, you have to set a goal so you can accomplish whatever that goal is. But in the grand scheme of things, what Alan and I are going to talk about is how you should probably set a goal that you never get, because you're going to get byproducts of that goal along the way that may be better than the original goal. And again, we're going to try to unpack that. I had a client, and I was talking to him recently, and this client was getting 2,500 podcast downloads a month. And he said, Kevin, I really want to get to 10,000 podcast downloads a month. And I said, well, you got to understand that when we got to 10,000 podcast downloads a month, that's because we were aiming for 1 million downloads in the year. If you're only aiming for 10,000 podcast downloads a month, the odds of you doing the right things enough times with enough consistency, it just really isn't there. And then the other part of it too is, if you're setting a goal to get the exact goal, you're really, really putting a lot of emphasis on your awareness of what it's going to take to accomplish it. This person's awareness was not high enough to understand what it takes to actually get 10,000 downloads a month. They had no idea what that would actually look like. And when we started to talk about it, I brought a lot of things up, and I brought his awareness up, but at his current run rate, it will take him years to get there. And the problem is, he's not going to have enough checkpoints along the way to say, oh, I'm really doing well. The odds of you hitting the bullseye when it comes to your goal is pretty small. And think of it like this, and hopefully this is going to land. Alan told me that I haven't been using enough analogies, and I love analogies. Okay. If your goal is to get a gym membership, all you have to do is walk into the gym and pay the money. If your goal is to be in better shape, you most likely, the odds are, you have to get a gym membership. So you cross off that goal by setting a bigger one. If you want to be in the best shape of your life, not only do you have to get a gym membership and be in quote unquote better shape, but you're probably going to have to hire somebody to help you to get that goal. If you want to be in the best shape you've ever been, you got to get a gym membership. You have to be in better shape. You probably have to hire somebody, and you're going to have an accountability partner. If you want to do a fitness show, you're going to have to do all those things. So when you set a goal that is way further along, you're going to have to do all of those things along the way to even get remotely close. Now, this person who I was coaching wants to get 10,000 downloads a month. Alan and I want to have the most successful podcast in history in the self-improvement, personal development industry. We are on pace to do $95,000 over a 3-month span. I ran the numbers today, Alan. And that was never the goal. Never once did we say, hey, I hope we can do close to $100,000 in 3 months in business. That was never the goal. That's the byproduct of a way, way, way bigger goal. So when you set a giant goal, when you want to reach the top of a mountain, you get a bunch of wonderful views on your way up. Most of those views you never would have got if you only wanted to get that view in the first place. Hopefully that lands. I understand it's a difficult thing to wrap your head around, and Alan and I are a little short on time today because I have a podcast and Alan has a call after this, but that is my goal in this episode, for you to understand that when you set a goal, the goal of setting that goal isn't to get the actual goal. It's to create necessity that you would never have. It's to force you to level up your awareness beyond what is currently capable. It's because the journey is 99.9% of you getting the goal. It will take Alan and I forever to have the most successful podcast in the self-improvement space. And we may never have it, but that's okay, because for most of the time, we're going to be chasing it anyway. And when you're chasing, you're learning and you're growing and you're beyond what you ever would have been. So really, really, if you have to go back and listen to this episode, listen a couple times, because this is not how we're taught to set goals. We're taught to set goals that are in front of us. And I think a lot of us set goals based on what we think we can get, not what we actually want. And that's another distinction for this episode.
I'm going to try to tell this story because I think it has to do a lot with what Kevin used as his analogy. So when Kevin and I first met, he was doing bodybuilding competitions and I was doing men's physique competitions. And I wanted to be the greatest natural aesthetic men's physique fitness model on the planet. Natural being the key word there. And meaning no drugs, no steroids. But anyways, so Kevin and I had some beautifully heated discussions about some of the shows and the prep that I did for them. And what I finally got a chance to explain to Kevin was that I was trying to find the optimum point of how do I win the show, but not lose an ounce more muscle than I needed to in order to win it. So when you're going to do a bodybuilding show, there's two ways to approach it. One is you do whatever it takes and you diet as lean as possible just to win the show. But what I was doing was optimizing for something far greater. I wanted to win the show, but not hurt my long-term muscle mass. Because when you do a bodybuilding show, you have to lose muscle mass in order to get really, really, really lean. And I didn't want to lose muscle mass because I wasn't optimizing for just that first show. I was optimizing for the long run. And so I did 3 different shows. The first show I lost, the second show I won, the third show I lost. But the reason I lost that third show is, yes, partially because I wasn't dieting hard enough. But the other reason was because I wanted to minimize the amount of muscle that I lost. I wasn't just trying to win that one show. I was trying to maximize the chances that I win that show while minimizing the chances that I lose muscle mass. And so what I wanted to talk about on this episode, and again, like Kevin said, re-listen to this if you need to, because we were not taught this. I'm reading a book right now called Algorithms to Live By. It is a phenomenal computer engineering book, but it helps you understand formulas and math and how to live your life in a way that can reverse engineer finish lines. So if you want to make chocolate cake, there's a certain recipe to make a certain type of chocolate cake. That's an algorithm. That's a formula. So just like you make chocolate cake, you also can optimize to win one fitness show, or you can optimize to get your pro card, or you can optimize to be the greatest natural aesthetic men's physique fitness model in the world. Now, a lot of this is very engineering talk, but bear with me. All right, so it's called game theory. There's infinite games and then there's finite games. An infinite game is Kevin and I want to have the most successful holistic self-improvement podcast in history. That's an infinite game. We'll spend our whole life trying to achieve that goal, and we'll never really achieve it. And even if we do, we're going to have to keep working in order to keep it, okay? The finite game is this episode. So one episode is a finite game within the infinite game. So this one episode is a finite game within the infinite game of becoming the most successful podcast we can possibly become.
Next Level Nation, I know many of you out there probably don't feel super supported. You probably feel alone, and you don't feel like you're going to be successful. And what's worse is, even if you do find success, you're probably going to be celebrating by yourself. What if you're just in the wrong rooms? I remember the first live event I went to. For the first time in my life, I finally felt like I fit in. I felt like I was valued for the person that I wanted to be, and big dreams were not only okay, but they were par for the course. That live event changed my life more than anything. And I was so afraid to go, but Alan convinced me to go, and since I had somebody to go with, it was much, much easier. Next Level Live is March 26th in Worcester, Mass. If you're scared to come alone, bring a friend. We're giving away 5 free tickets, but we're only giving them away to our local listeners. We want to meet each and every one of you. Make sure you get a free ticket while you can, because when they're gone, they're gone.
It is first come, first serve. Click the link in the show notes. It'll take you to the landing page. Put quantity 2, grab a friend, and put promo code local listener. It will make checkout $0. Get your ticket as soon as possible. Again, first come, first serve, and local listener you can copy and paste from the show notes.
We'll see you there.
And so this is kind of the analogy here. Imagine you're playing chess. Let's say there's two people playing chess together. One of them likes chess and is playing for fun and wants to win that one match. The other chess player is playing for fun, yes, but more importantly, they want to be the greatest grandmaster chess player in the world. See, they're both playing chess and they're both enjoying chess, but one of them is trying to win that one game and learn from it so that the next game they are better, versus the person who's just trying to win that one match. It's the mentality that you go into it. And by the way, the infinite game is becoming a grandmaster and the best chess player in the world. The finite game is that one match, but there's actually an even smaller finite game within that, which is each move. So if you ever watch a chess match, you can see that the player that appears to be losing often ends up winning the match. The reason why is because they're optimizing for checkmating the king, but it looks like they're doing dumb moves out of the gate, when in reality what they're trying to do is trick their opponent. So I'm going to bring this down to earth here, okay? You have days, you have weeks, you have months, you have quarters, you have years, and you have decades. And you also have hours within your day. So what are the chess moves that you're making, aka the decisions that you're making today that ripple into your days, weeks, months, quarters, years, and decades? If you have low goals and you only have a goal for today, let's say today, you want to make today the best day of your life, okay? The problem with that is that that doesn't mean your decade will be the best decade. See, it's called time perspective. If Kevin and I, if this was the last day on earth, Kevin and I would live very differently than if it wasn't the last day on earth. If this was our last day on earth, Kev, I would spend the whole day with Emilia. I would go spend time with you. I would go spend time with my family. See, I would live very differently than the way I'm currently living today. Why? Because statistically speaking, I'm going to live to 74, which is the average life expectancy, and I actually am shooting for much higher than that. My goal is 120 because of the medical breakthroughs and all that kind of stuff. I know that I sound crazy, but here's my point. When you hear someone say YOLO, what they're saying is you only live once. If I were to die tomorrow, I would want to do what I'm doing right now. That's short, shallow thinking. I know this is hardcore, but it's true. If you're going to live to 50 years from now, you're going to want to optimize for the maximum quality of life across those 50 years, not just for one day. Now, is it possible that something bad happens? Of course. Infinite games within finite games, or finite games within infinite games, okay? What Kevin and I are saying in this episode is that if you don't have a high goal, Stephen Kotler calls this a massively transformational purpose. If you don't have a high goal, you're not going to maximize your potential within the finite games leading to that infinite game. So Kevin mentioned the almost $100,000 in the last 3 months. That was a byproduct of the main goal. Someone asked Kevin on a podcast, what's it like to live your dreams? And he's like, I appreciate it and I love my life, but I'm not living my dreams. I'm on the way to living my dreams. And in a weird way, we're all always on the way. If you're driving from Boston to LA and you end up in Wyoming, it's not because you wanted to go to Wyoming and the Rocky Mountains in Denver. Awesome. It's because you're headed to LA. So it is about the journey, but be careful because the destination you choose in advance dictates the journey. The fears you're going to face, the people you're going to meet, the skills you're going to learn, the things you're going to do and not do are all dictated based on what you are reverse engineering, what life you really do want.
Next Level Nation, a lot of us look to free resources to learn, whether it's YouTube or some people learn from TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, whatever it may be. The problem with those things is they're not necessarily vetted. You don't know what kind of results those people that created that actually have behind the scenes. That is why we created a free course, totally free. It's taken years of self-improvement that Alan and I have learned behind the scenes, and it's what we practice day in and day out. It's what we teach to clients, and it is put into an hour and a half free online course for you. You can download it, download the worksheets, take it at your own pace. Everything you need to know is in the show notes below.
Also, April 19th, we have our 6th group of group coaching. So as of tonight, Kevin and I will have graduated 50 people from group coaching. It's an incredibly well-polished product. Maybe you're out there and you're not consistent, you're not tracking your habits, you're struggling to feel like you're making progress. This is what group coaching was designed for. This last group, Group 5, Legacy by Design, all tracked their habits for all of the 3 months. It's a 3-month program. You can click the link in the show notes. All the information is there. And it's 6 sessions. It's bi-weekly. If you can't attend every one, we do record them and send them privately to each email. So they're private sessions and they stay private forever. But you got to be a part of this. The WhatsApp group is on fire. We've got a new champion of group coaching. His name's Greg. He's an assistant coach. So with Kevin, Greg, myself, and 9 other like-minded individuals in your corner, I'm telling you, you will be much better off. This is the Mario Kart booster that you need to get to the next level.
Next Level Nation, we love you. We appreciate you as always. We do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow. And if you are new, please, please, please leave us a review on the podcast platform you are listening to us on so we can help more people get to the next level of their lives.
Please reach out.
Bye.